Welcome to Immigration Talk Show with lawyer Srinivas Kaveti. Please note that Sakshi TV now has 4 shows every week. On Tuesday with Mr. Srinivas Kaveti, on Wednesdays with Ms. Prashanti Reddy in English, on Thursday with lawyer Parvat Neni, and on Friday with Banu Nidra. Please don't to ask your questions. If you are an immigration attorney and would like to join our special shows, please email us at usa@sakshi.com or call us at 866-725-7441. Before we begin the show, please note that the information provided on this show is not a legal advice and for general information purposes only. Sakshi TV or its agents will not be responsible for the use of information. If you need any specific legal advice, you can contact the lawyer directly. So for today's show, we have Mr. Kaveti, who is a lawyer himself. His law firm, KavetiLaw Firm, is situated in New York City and has operating offices in Asia, Europe, South Africa, North America. So they help individuals and companies deal with their legal matters. Their innovative approach towards international law is the reason why he is number one choice for their clients. So without any further delay, let's welcome lawyer Kaveti Garu on our show. Mr. Srinivas Kaveti, how are you? Welcome back onto our show.
Good, Shivani. After a long overseas trip again, I'm back in New York.
Yes, it feels so nice to having you back. First of all, massive congratulations on your successful trip to India. You were basically everywhere. We open any news channel, you're on TV. The recent interview with RGV that you had it has more than 1 million views on YouTube. Congratulations on that. Can you please tell us what exactly happened and why did you actually come to India? Just to give a recap about the whole trip.
Yeah, I was, every year I travel to India and other parts of the world. I was in Malta and I was in London. As I was speaking in earlier shows, because we had some clients and we had to file certain work visa applications in UK and in Malta. So I was there in both the countries. And of course, as I said to you that we opened up an office in Dubai. We're doing some Dubai work as well in terms of immigration law. Work permits and opening up companies in Dubai. And then I was back in India because we do represent clients in terms of divorce cases in Hyderabad and India. And there are some cases we do in Supreme Court and High Courts of India. I do come to Hyderabad. We have active practicing office. I normally come to advise clients and represent them in different forums in India. And what happened was when I was in India, I do appear in a lot of TV shows, as you said. I went to see the CEO of TV9, Mr. Rajnikant. So when I was there was a show being conducted. It was a debate because there was a few stray dogs who they killed a small boy in Hyderabad, and Ram Gopal Verma was the lead, and he was doing a debate. So the CEO has asked me to go and participate in the debate. There were some lawyers. So when I went, there was some heated arguments in the studio. So I emphasized that it is the liability of the municipality of Hyderabad to be responsible for the criminal act committed by the dogs, because there is a decision by the Kerala High Court, Karnataka High Court, and Supreme Court in India saying that the stray dogs are the property of municipalities. And because we being the taxpayers of India and the municipality, the state, which is municipality is part of the state, is a government, part of state governments, it's a local body. They're responsible to give the citizens a decent, a safe environment. And if they don't give that, they're liable. So the law is very clear. It was established law in India. I said that on TV before Ram Gopal Verma and other debate guys, saying that it was the responsibility of the government. And what they did was the police have done an FIR, first information report, stating that the death was unknown. That's what they did, the FIR, which was defective. So in my show, I emphasized that if this would have happened in America and other parts of the world, the government would have been responsible vicariously. One was a criminal negligence and vicarious responsibility. That means it's called master and servant rule. It's called respondent superior. That means the owner. That means the management that GHMC and the state government of Telangana was responsible. So when I said that law, when I elucidated that law, Ram Gopal Verma and other participants they were very happy. They said, "Oh, we never knew that the government is responsible." So out of that, he applauded me, and I guess with that, I think million people saw that, and I had a lot of phone calls. And Mr. KTR was a minister of Telangana for the municipality. I heard that he called the IAS officers and asked, "Is this lawyer saying the truth?" Then the IAS officers confirmed. So then they gave money to the family of the victim, the boy's father, mother, and Nagarjuna University, a lot of companies, and even Ram Gopal Verma. He did a tweet, and there were 42 lakhs were collected for his family just based on my interview, and because I educated the law to the citizens of Telangana. So I was very happy from the outcome, and a lot of animal lovers families they came to me, and some GHMC workers also visited me. They said, "Sir, we have some claims as against GHMC." I said to them, "Look, Amma, I don't, I'm not here to sue the GHMC, but that was a public cause. I gave on this thing on TV." So it was a very good response, and I was very, very happy. And out of that, I started getting a lot of phone calls, and I was there for a week, and I came back to New York. And because of the H-1B rush and everything, I had to be back in my office. Here I'm back in New York again.
Yes, I'm sure, a lot of people, and I think you just enlightened about a law that a lot of people here in India, they just ignore it completely. You got justice to a lot of people. So, like apart from that, I want from your personal point of view, like how does it feel, when you're back to the country and you're dealing with so many different people, you meet so many different people. What is that one thing that you feel, personally? And are there any other plans that you're planning? After this trip, are there any new ventures that you're entering, Mr. Kaveti?
As I said to you in my earlier interview, I've registered a newspaper called Nyaya Patrika. I have to launch it. I'm waiting for the former Chief Justice to give me an appointment for launching that newspaper. It's going to be a digital and physical one. And of course, so we're doing a lot of videos in my KavetiLaw, my personal YouTube, and a lot of people are visiting that. And I'm also trying to do some videos and interviews in northern part of India, which will be useful for the northern part people who speak Hindi. That's another thing which we're going to do. And we are also incorporating few television companies in New York so that we can do some TV shows from US, on different subjects of Indian law, international law, and human rights law and immigration law, especially for students and workers. And recently, we have also helped some clients for getting some sort of a work permits to UK as well. There was a scheme by the United Kingdom. They had 3,000 people. They did a lottery for Indian professionals migrating to UK. So we have helped some people getting some UK work permits from my Hyderabad office. We want to help people who are NRIs all over the world in terms of family law, in terms of immigration law, in terms of even students. I mean, we are getting a lot of calls because of your shows in Sakshi TV in US. A lot of students are also calling us who have been out of status. Those visas have been terminated by their schools because of non-payment of student fees, or they are not been maintaining their credits in their schools, and some of them could not register online. We're getting a lot of calls from students as well. In terms of students, we are assisting a lot of students on my firm, and in terms of a lot of battered spouses, they're calling from India and different parts of the world, even from UK. We are assisting a lot of battered spouse people. And last week we had a student. He went to open up a store in Manhattan, and he was attacked by a white guy. and they have cut his, with a knife, they've cut his, throat. He had 6 stitches, and we are assisting him to file a victim visa. It's called U visa. Things like that. We're getting a lot of calls, and we've been assisting them. And I get calls from different parts of the world, not only just immigration law, but in terms of family law, in terms of employer and employee relationship laws, and people who not got paid their wages, and in terms of criminal cases as well, people who are drunk driving. Lately, we are getting a lot of calls from students or H-1B guys who drink and drive in America. They get arrested and they're being incarcerated. We're getting a lot of these calls. It's not just an immigration law we do, my firm. We assist clients from all over the world in terms of criminal law, in terms of different types of laws. So, it's never ending. So my journey is never ending. Because of my legal education in England and Australia and America and India, I touch base upon different laws from different parts of the world, and it gives us immense pleasure in helping. Initially, we give free consultations on the phone, and second time, third time, we're getting even calls from UK and Australia. Recently, we had a client whose parents wanted to get divorced. I mean, they're 60 and 70 years of age, and these kids called me from England and other parts of the world. I mean, these things they cannot discuss openly, so they do discuss with me their parents' issues and marital issues. A lot of women also they call battered spouse, and a lot of these H1 guys they get married and then come to America. They don't bring their wives to America. They don't bring their children to America. It's very pathetic why they get married. They take dowries and they leave their wives back in India. Even if they bring them to America, they have this narcissistic attitudes. They don't take care of their wives and children. So we're getting a lot of those calls, and I'm so happy that my shows and your shows are helping a lot of people, so that people are Google and they call us, and wherever I'm in the world, because WhatsApp works, and I do assist them initially on phone calls, and once they get convinced, they retain us. Sometimes they don't. That's okay, and we recommend them to different lawyers all over the world, and we suggest them that they retain local lawyers who are specialized in those areas. Yeah, that's what it is. That's
Yes.
been my journey in the last 2 months. Yeah.
Yes, congratulations on that, Mr. Kaveti. But I think we'll get on to the topic that we discussed about. So we were going to talk about 221G. So in the context of US visa stamping, Mr. Kaveti, what exactly is 221G?
A 221G, most of the times, it is a visa refusal. I want you to understand a couple of things in immigration law. One is called a visa refusal, and second is called visa denial. There is a difference between a visa denial and then visa refusal. Most of the time, 221G is given there are different types of, they give a pink slip, they give a blue slip, they give a white slip. Most of the times when you go back to the consulates, if you're appearing for a non-immigrant visa, which is an H-1B or a student visa, or even a visitor visa, or even an immigrant visa, when the consular officer is not satisfied under the due process of law, they have to give you a notice saying, hey, under this 221G, Immigration and Naturalization Act, your visa has been refused. So that actually basically, when they give it to you, the law is very clear that they don't have to give you a specific reason that why they're denying it. They just give you a boilerplate form, and they will say that you have not satisfied the immigration. So they give you a just white form. They just tick it and give it to you, the tick mark, and say you have not convinced the immigration, which is, consulate officer. That's what 221G is all is about. It is a refusal, basically. It's a notice given to the visa applicant, whether it's an immigrant visa or a non-immigrant visa.
Yes. So what are the common reason that a 221G is issued? So when is it issued, and what can be the most common causes for that?
See, the problem is most of the times when when any visa applicant goes to the consulate, first of all, we all have to understand visa is not a right. Get that in mind. If we don't have a right, you can't question them. There is no right. See, the law says when there is a right, there is a remedy. There is a Latin maxim. If you have a right, then is a remedy. If you don't have a right, there is no remedy. So what does it mean? If you don't have a right to get a visa, there is no remedy. So, but what is the remedy here now? When they give you a 221G notice saying that you did not convince the officer, they're refusing your visa. Is it appealable? The answer is no. You can't appeal. Or can you file a motion to reopen? The answer is no, because you don't have a constitutional right. When you don't have a right, you don't have a remedy.
Yeah. Mr. Kaveti, what does the Department of the State do after a 221G is issued?
See, first of all, we all have questions in mind why they give 221G, why the visa officer is refusing to give me a visa. See, there are umpteen reasons. Most of the times we think, oh, the officer did not understand me. Oh, the officer did not see my documents. That is not the case. They're not going to make any, gender discrimination based on your looks, based on your religion, based on your sexual orientation. It's not that actually. It's basically why they refuse your visa. The first thing is sometimes your profession falls under technology alert occupations. What does it mean? Sometimes you could be a cyber guy. You know how to if you're a threat, for example, if you're a biotechnology professional and you're a scientist who are into biotechnology, you could be in that threat list, that your job could be in that threat list, and they could refuse you. And sometimes when you go for an H-1B, there are certain education institutions, they are questionable. There are many education institutions which are questionable. What does it mean? They might not be bona fide. They want to check up whether your education is bona fide or not, whether your university is bona fide or not, number one. Number two, the second reason is maybe your employment history. They want to see whether where you worked is a bona fide employer or is it a bona fide employment. And number three, they want to check up whether the employer who is sponsoring you, they want to do an administrative processing, they want to do an anti-fraud investigation, like whether they want to see whether the employer is really running a business bona fide, and whether they're having a client letter which is a bona fide client letter in terms of H-1B, whether this job is really there, whether this company is able and willing, whether do they have tax returns, or is it a bona fide company? Do they have a physical premises? Things like that. And in terms of visitor visa, many times they want to check up they are not satisfied with your ties with your country, or they are not satisfied with your travel history, or they might not be satisfied with your financial history. There are umpteen reasons why they they refuse your visa. But can you apply again? The answer is yes. With new grounds, you can apply. Sometimes what they do, they take that application and they give you this 212G temporarily, but they'll keep the passport. In that case, that means they're doing an administrative processing. They're verifying your case. Verifying means they will send anti-fraud investigation guys. They want to basically verify and see. After 30 to 60 days, they will grant you visa.
Yes.
And sometimes if it takes more than 120 days, then you have to get back to them and say, hey, it's more than 6 months. You guys have not granted me a visa. Can you please, check it out? So you can email them. So it doesn't mean that 221G means it's a permanent refusal, but you can still go back to them, by a change of circumstances. And, there are so many reasons why circumstances change in lives. You can still go back and apply. You can apply with fresh grounds.
Yes.
It's not deadlock. I have a lot of clients. I mean, my own case, I was being refused 3 to 4 times. I myself had 221G 3 to 4 times. and my wife had 4 to 5 times. And I had clients we have handled who had refusal for 7 times. We could still process their H-1B from Gujarat and brought them into country. And now they're all citizens. I mean, you understand what I mean? It's not a stumbling wall. But people many times they say, "Oh, my visa." My brother got refused 2 to 3 times. So that doesn't mean anything. You could still go back and apply with changing circumstances.
Yes. Mr. Kaveti, how long does the processing take of the 221G to resolve and, and come to a decision? So, what is the time period that you think, takes?
Normally, the legislation said it's 60 days and to 180 days, but unfortunately, after COVID, they're taking longer time because of their staffing issues and all over the world. And if you see all over the world, many countries, 50 to 60 countries, they close their consulates. So there's a lot of load on the consulates because of the COVID issues. They're backlogged.
Yes. So how can one follow up about the 221G with the consulate or the US State Department? How can you go and follow up?
Most of the times, if it is an H-1B or an L-1, a non-immigrant visa, only the employer can get in touch with the consulates why it's getting delayed, because there might be a commercial frustration in the companies. Because, for example, if the company has entered into a contract promising that they'll supply this consultant, and in the event they did not to get the visa, so they might have a commercial frustration. What does it mean? The employer might breach a contract. So in such circumstances, they can get in touch with the consulate requesting them to process it expedited. And sometimes the students, if they want to come to America on an F1, if they're getting delayed, if the school is starting, they can email the consulate. There is an email address in the consulate, so they can get in touch with them. They would expedite it. Sometimes there are certain visas, depends upon medical emergency. It depends on every case to case is different. So they can get in touch with the consulates. Yes.
Yes. So, Mr. Kaveti, how do you follow up to your 221G? And also, what are the common options that you have to check about your 221G?
See, most of the times, when you see this 221G notice given by the consulate, it doesn't have anything basically. They said that, you did not show ties or you did not convince the consular officer. Unfortunately, and in the immigration law, people have gone to the courts also, and there is a doctrine saying that you cannot sue the consulate. You cannot sue them, and they don't have to give you a specific reason that why they have denied your visa. That they don't have to provide you. So you're just just a guesswork, I guess. They don't have to provide you a specific reasons in what context and what is the reason they have denied your visa. You could just reapply. And unfortunately, there is no appeal or there is no remedy. You cannot go to any higher authorities saying that, oh, my visa is denied. Can you reconsider? There's nothing like that, unfortunately. Yes. Only circumstances are when an immigrant petition is denied or H-4 petition is denied or some sort of a dependent visas are denied. The law is very established that you cannot go to the court. You can only go to the court if your civil rights have been infringed. It's again, fundamental rights are infringed by the, U.S. Citizens. Their rights have been infringed, or a permanent resident rights are infringed. Sometimes even H-1B workers, the rights are infringed, or L-1A workers' rights are infringed. And only in that case you can approach to the court under the civil rights law and not under the immigration law. Yes. It's a very complex area, actually. We are just handling one case now.
Yes. So, Mr. Kaveti, are you saying that one can expedite 221G processing, or also do they have anything called as the premium processing for the US visa administrative process?
No, the premium processing is only done by the USCIS. USCIS is which is in the country, United States of, it's an immigration service which is in America. But the consulate authorities, consular affairs, comes under the Department of States. These are two different agencies. So there is nothing like a premium processing for consulate affairs. No. There are sometimes when when you request the senators in America, they would request the consulates to expedite them, but that's under the administrative law. And again, case to case is different. Let's say if some of your family members are dying in America and they've approached for a visitor visa and the consulate has not taken any decision, their family members are dying in America, their family can approach the senators and they can make a request, even Attorney General's office or the President's office. They can request them, asking them to, write a letter to the consulate. They will wire them, asking the consulates to expedite it. But there's no fees. There's nothing like a premium processing. But
Yes.
this is done at an administrative law level by the president of the country or the attorney general of the country or even the senators, state senators or federal senators.
Yes.
But that's under the administrative law, not under the immigration law.
Yes. And finally, Mr. Kaveti, just because there's a delay in the 221G, does that mean it's a rejection completely?
That's all I said to you, that these applications you can reapply again. And sometimes, they will, a denial, you can just go back and apply again. As I said to you earlier, I was denied, my wife was denied, so as my brother, and many clients have been denied 5 to 6 times. I had even have a client who was a Patel, his visa was denied 7 times. And when my firm did as an H-1B, the guy said, "Sir, I was denied 7 times. You guys are doing an H-1B. How can you give us a promise saying that I might get an H-1B?" But his H-1 was granted. He came to the United States. Now he's a citizen and he's working as a clinical researcher. I can't give the name of the person, but we have done such cases. We had a lot of clients whose visas have been denied 5 to 6 times, even student visas, but they reapplied, they came back. Depends upon the officer, depends upon the circumstance, depends upon what sort of a course, depends upon so many factors.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much, Mr. Kaveti, for tuning on to our show. We did cover a very important topic, and also, we did also go through about how was your trip to India. We'll discuss more in the next episode. Thank you again for the viewers for tuning in. You're watching Sakshi TV with me, Shivani Raj.